Welcome to the Zen Superman podcast. The episode today is for you if your child is always praised at school, at kindergarten, nursery. He or she is such a sweet little angel, following the orders so well, always listening, always nice, paying attention. You have such a great, kind, calm kid. Fantastic. But then that little angel comes home and hell breaks loose and you're like, where the heck is that calm angel that was nice the whole day at school? And now they come home and they are torturing me with their noise, not listening, big tantrums, screaming, yelling, hitting, fighting, jealous for their brothers and sisters. Like, what happened with my child? How come my child is so different? And why can't you be the same calm angel at home too, my little person? Why is that? And how come none of the smart parenting techniques that you might have researched on Instagram, Facebook, all of these smart parenting coaches telling you exactly what you should say so that that little child remains an angel, how come it's not working? Time to start looking for the reasons why and start looking for solutions, not by fixing your kids, but maybe looking at what you might be doing. Maybe. Well, if you're ready for that, join me inside this episode. Hi, Supermom or Superdad. Alena here, your mommy tantrum specialist and the founder of the Zen Supermom system. And me and my team have helped hundreds of moms and dads start setting healthy boundaries with calm. And this is the first parenting podcast that is not about your kids, that shows you why none of the parenting techniques helped you stop yelling at your kids and how to control your emotions from jumping out so that you can be the safe, loving parent you wish you had growing up. This is the Zen Superman podcast. Hi, my name is Elena and I'm a mommy tantrum specialist because I used to have mommy tantrums quite often when my daughter was small. And I'm also a Zen Superman founder because that's where me and my team are helping moms and dads who are so loving, so full of like the best intentions, but they're also so stressed out and they're full of their own patterns from their own childhood and they cannot stop yelling at their kids. They cannot stop repeating things 100 times and then being very surprised. How come the kids are not happy, not listening? What's wrong with you, my child? I've told you 100 times. Why are you not listening for 101? Okay. This is what we are doing. And today we are going to be talking about kids who are angels at school and turn into little monsters at home at the end of the day. And we will talk about it, how and why this happens. Because I hear it more and more often, especially now as the summer holidays are finishing and some parents are already like bracing themselves because the kids have gone completely wild and loose over the holidays. There are no schedules, no obligations, and they're already bracing themselves for the impact. Oh my goodness, what are they going to say at school? Like, are my kids going to be nice and respectful? Are they going to be able to sit for so many hours nicely, calmly? Or if they do and even manage at school, what is going to wait for me, the busy, stressed out, overscheduled, exhausted me, at the end of the day when I bring everybody from school and I'm supposed to manage everything together without blowing up and everybody having a huge tantrum and drama and crying and tired, hungry mess? How the heck do I do that? So, no judgment. If that's you, if that's exactly what you've been already like, oh my goodness, September is coming. If that's what you've been thinking, that this episode is exactly for you, you're in the right place. Now, why am I not a parenting coach? Because I don't think there are any cookie cutters. And I have only one daughter and I can already see that what works for her today is not going to work for her tomorrow because yesterday it was completely different. If you have more kids, then you already know that every kid might be even different, not just throughout the different stages of their development, but they might have totally different personalities. And also you are different, huh? You react differently on a sunny Sunday afternoon when everything is chilled, and you are totally different on a stressed out September Monday morning, right? So, rather than wasting time with parenting techniques, I want to go deeper. Let's go underneath, shall we? Do you already know why this is happening for your kids? If you've been told already last school year that they are angels at school and they are so obedient and so listening and so nice and respectful, and then they come home and they turn into little monsters, do you know why? If you do, you can skip to the next section of this podcast when we get into sorting it out. If you don't, well, this is what we need to talk about first, right? Because without understanding, as long as you keep blaming your kids and like, my kid is out there to get me, like they are doing that to me on purpose. They respect everybody else, but they don't respect me. Like, we need to talk. If that's what you have in your mind and you're putting it on your child and trying to find a way to fix your child because they are the problem, then we need to talk, okay? The good news is that if your child is an angel at school and then blows up at home, actually the reason is flattering for you. It's a compliment for you. Because if you imagine, well, let's imagine, that's what every mom hopes for, right? That you are your kid's idol, role model, safe haven, the person they love the most in their life. And the younger they are, the more this is true. If you're having teens or even preteens, it might be already wobbly a little bit, that belief. You might not always feel that way. But if we talk about younger kids especially, this is an absolute unshakable truth. You are the center of their universe. Okay? So, one of possible explanation I would like to offer to you to consider for yourself. I'm not going to push anything like, this is the truth, believe me because I say so. No, just consider, is it possible that your child, at the end of a day where they had to listen and obey for the fear of being punished, ridiculed, not accepted, or losing any like privileges or anything, being excluded from games and activities, for that fear, they were holding it together the entire day. They were behaving to the best of their ability. Can you imagine you spent the whole day at work where you knew everybody was watching you, controlling, policing, making sure, like watching your every move, depending on the schooling system of your children, unless you had like super alternative way, like even in Montessori, we went through Montessori, so I know that even though there is much more freestyle and respectful, the kids are still required to fit in the boundaries, and they are motivated positively to like obey and follow. Otherwise, there is a consequence that is not pleasant. So imagine you were going through this, yeah? There was somebody telling you for how many hours do your kids spend at school? Count it. Count how many hours of their awake time. What is the percentage of their awake time that they spend there? And imagine you would feel the same way, that there's somebody controlling your every move and watching. Even if you raise your voice, if you get too excited, there's already somebody to tell you like, hey, knock it down a little bit, calm down. Huh? And so then, at the end of a day like this, what is it that you feel you would need? You would need to breathe, right? You would need to feel like, okay, finally, I'm free to be me. I don't need to fulfill anybody's expectations because now I feel safe. Because now I'm with people who love me unconditionally. So now I can actually let some steam off. How would your perception of your tantrumy evening, like tired child change if you actually had some empathy and compassion for why they're having evening tantrums and meltdowns? Okay. In order for you to be able to access that empathy and compassion without any, yes, but I'm tired too, blah, 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 blah. Who is that talking in your head? In order to access your full empathy and unconditional love for your children, no matter what, even in the evening when they have a meltdown tantrum after a full day at school, you need to be able to heal your own inner child that is taking over and having your mommy tantrum in the evening. For more information, join one of our upcoming mommy tantrum workshops, trainings, where I explain it all. A little info commercial. It's free. You don't have to pay anything to attend, but this is where you need to understand what's preventing you from being unconditionally loving mom. Because there are conditions in your head right now. I will love you, my child, and I will be a nice mom in the evening, only if you do not have any tantrums. You know why? Because I cannot handle my own feelings. So if you cannot handle your own feelings, you're going to trigger me. Then I will not be able to handle my own feelings. And then we will be like two little yelling and then crying children, apologizing to each other and then doing the same madness again tomorrow. How crazy is that? Okay, I'm rolling my eyes to be dramatic. But actually, this is exactly what I was doing even before my daughter started going to school. So again, no judgment. But it's time to realize what's going on, okay? It is normal for your child to have a meltdown in the evening, and it's actually a sign of trust because they feel safe to be who they are and they feel safe to vent and release the pressure they have felt or that accumulated in their nervous system throughout the day, okay? It's actually a compliment. Now, the fact that you cannot handle it, that's the second piece of it. Let's talk about that, shall we? Because I hear you. I just spoke to other moms today who were talking to me, who were trying to get more information about the program, Zen Supermom program, if they could join it, what would that mean? And the mom specifically, she was trying to explain to me, like, yeah, of course. And she was absolutely not the only one. But she was telling me, yes, I get it. Unconditional love and everything. I don't want to yell. But also, I need to take care. I need to pay attention here because I see where I live, and I hear this very often from moms living in the Nordics, the north of Europe, Sweden, Finland, Norway. It's all very much about gentle parenting. But then this mom was telling me, but what I can see also is where it's taken to the extreme, the kids are not respectful at all. Like, yes, nobody's yelling at them, nobody's punishing them, nobody's slapping them, no physical punishments, but then they grow up having no boundaries. They're not respectful towards the elders. They don't have any manners. They don't take care of other people. They are totally selfish, basically. I don't want my son to be raised this way. He needs to have limits. And so on that, I was, of course, yeah, that's exactly right. But this is where our perception comes from. Do you realize that? Well, how was your childhood? Check in with your memories. Because if you're here listening to a podcast, how not to yell, how to be a happy, calm mom, without traumatizing your kids, basically, and giving them your childhood baggage, then chances are you had one of the two extremes, or basically both of them, because your parents were doing flip-flops from the pendulum from both extremes. One extreme is called a super soft and too nice, asking kids 100 times to do something and then anyways doing it for them, or letting go and not sticking to your boundaries because you're afraid to yell. Too nice. No boundaries. But then often, just like me, this is what I was most of the time here. But then when it really didn't work and it really mattered for me that something happens now, I flipped to the other extreme to be the mamzilla, as I called it. And I had my tantrum and I yelled because that was the only way how to get my daughter's attention. The only way I knew how back then. The chances are, if you're sitting here to this podcast episode, you were experiencing something similar when you were growing up. Either one of your parents was the yeller, the other one was the submissive, scared, tiptoeing, walking on eggshells not to make daddy mad. So I'm the mom who's just so nice, so giving to everybody, no boundaries, super resentful, tired, exhausted. My mom died on cancer and everything. Because of this, it's all related. I will refer you back to the mommy tantrum training for more details. But this is if you grew up having this as a pattern that you learn from, because when we are kids, we think that's it. That's the blueprint I need to adopt because these people are like my role models, parents, right? So we learn from our parents with no filters, with no critical analytical thinking. We just start doing the same. And then even as adults, as we grow up and we realize it's not really working, it's been engraved in our brain, in our neural pathways, like your autopilot, basically. That's the default system of your autopilot. And it's extremely difficult without any help, without any professional help, to override that. Because this is where you go to that autopilot, especially when you're tired, when you're stressed out, when you're running out of time, because then your mental capability has been already spent out so much. You have given already so much energy to holding it together the whole day that you don't have any more energy and willpower to keep holding it together. So then your child throws something on top and you're like, "Grah!" and you go to your autopilot. Does that ring a bell? Yes. So, what to do instead? It's time to learn some healthy boundaries, okay? I love gentle parenting, I'm all about that, but exactly like these moms that I'm talking to, I want my daughter to grow up having boundaries. Boundaries are important. Me too. I want my daughter to be a respectful, kind human being. Her freedom ends where freedom of other people starts. That's what I'm teaching her. You feel free to do whatever you want. Like, this is the space. These are the boundaries. Within that space, do whatever you want. Be yourself. Excellent. But as long as that boundary starts touching my boundary, as long as your space starts overfilling my space, then we need to talk. And very practically, that is about, I get it. You're being very loud right now because, like, yeah, you had like demanding day at school, so now you're letting off your steam. Yeah, you're not going to say that to a 2-year-old because they'll be looking at you like, say what? Age appropriate conversation, okay? But this is like how I phrase it in my mind to get to the level of empathy. I get it, my child. You had a tough day. You want to let go now and relax. Me too. And this noise right now that you're doing, it's like my ears are falling off. So how about some options? And you give your child 2 options. Either of them is fine with you. Either you tell them to go and yell outside, like if you have a garden. Like, do you want to? Not like sending them as a punishment. Go away because I cannot handle this. But as an option, like, do you want to go and play or go in the next room to play? Or do you want to put on some music and start singing, like re-channel? Give them another option where how they can channel the energy that meet their need in a way that is acceptable for you, that is less triggering for you, that is more like you feel like you can breathe through it. Yeah. So rather than yelling, would you rather that they sing? Yeah, there needs to be some compromise. Yeah, I get it. Most likely you would love them to shut up completely and don't speak until tomorrow morning. I get that. That's not possible. Okay. There needs to be some level of compromise. So what are some options that you can come up with that either of them will be okay with you and you let them choose? What this does is it communicates your boundaries. It clearly establishes like this is the challenge. It's not a personal attack between us. You and I, we don't have a problem. I love you unconditionally. What I have a problem with is this noise. I understand, like, I'm not blaming you for it. I understand where it's coming from. I'm just trying to find a way how I can help you get what you need, which is de-stress, without me going completely crazy and ending up in a madhouse. Okay? And these are 2 things I can come up with. Now, my daughter is old enough to come up with her own options now. So I usually give her my options, like, this is what would be okay with me. Yeah, and for her, usually it's about, she's not loud, but she's very physically active. She loves jumping, hanging head like upside down with her head down. And I'm worried she's either going to break her neck or she's going to break some furniture and that our neighbors are going to come and knock on our door because how she's jumping and she's already heavy. And I'm afraid she's making too much noise for them as well. So I'm explaining to her, like, I get it. You need to use your energy because you didn't have enough physical activities during the day. So do you either want that I give you here, and I give her usually like a mattress to do the rollovers. I don't know how you call that in English. I don't know. To do some gymnastics basically on a mattress. Like, that's a safe channeling of her energy, because then I at least know she's not going to get hurt, or she's much less likely to get hurt this way. If I give her a mattress and she stops jumping on furniture and instead does some like floor work on the floor. Or do you want to put some music on and start dancing? Okay. So I give her the options, and then if she says, no, I don't like, no, then I let her, okay, so what else do you want to do to make sure you don't get hurt, and that our neighbors are not going to come and knocking on the door, because if they do, you will go and answer that door and explain to them. Okay. This is an example of setting boundaries, clearly calling out the behavior, not blaming the child for anything, but labeling the behavior that is not okay and explaining why in age appropriate, like short way, not having 1 hour rant about why you're tired and how this is not acceptable, but clearly saying, this is what the problem is. Now, I get it that you need something from it. That's why you're doing it. And that's perfectly okay. I have no problem with that, with your needs. I get it. You need some, physical activity, or you need to let go of steam. That's fine. Now, how can we do it in a way that will be okay for all of us? Okay. This is an example of healthy boundary. I'm not going to give you any scripts. Notice this is very, I don't want to say intuitive. It is intuitive while you understand what is the intention and how the boundaries work. And I get it. It might be very like still sounding theoretical or detached to you, because your situation might be totally different. Maybe you have 2 or 3 kids. They are killing themselves with their toys while you're cooking dinner. Whatever is happening. This is my belief. You are the best parenting expert on your kids. You are. Not some Instagram lady who's posting fake pictures when their kids are smiling and then they are yelling for the rest of the day. Not somebody who's telling you this is one and only way, this is what to say so that it works for now and forever for all 10 of your children during the 20 years of their existence. That does not exist. There is no one single bullet. You already have all the answers you need right in front of you, because it's all about you and your child. And you, as a mom, sorry dads, are the best positioned to tune into the needs of your children, as long as your own childhood trauma does not get triggered and you do not get all blah, 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 why me, and this is so not fair, and why are they not listening to me, and taking it personally as an attack because you don't have your own childhood sorted out and healed. Yes? Does that make sense? And does it make sense, the example about the clean boundaries? That the freedom of your kids stops where your freedom starts, or their siblings' freedom start. Yes? That's why I do not like even positive motivational rewards. Like, I'm going to give you a sticker if you will do this, or you're going to get some gift if you are nice during the lunch with your auntie. Like, that's not explaining the kids why it's important for you that they are nice during the dinner with auntie, or that they do something, or that they learn how to potty or whatever. And I get it that always there is no positive impact for the kids. Maybe sometimes you want them to do things that they will not want to do, like going to the doctor for a vaccination. But even then, like, we managed to explain even that to our daughter. I never did any positive reward for doctor visits. You can still explain to them in age-appropriate way why it's important. Yes, and that's usually the best litmus test. Are you insisting on, are your boundaries based on objectively like valid reasons? Meaning you want them to go to the doctor because vaccination is needed. Okay, that's like a clear example. Or are you trying to push them to behave even in situations where actually it's just your trauma push? For example, being nice during the dinner with auntie. Are you just doing it because you're afraid of being judged by other people? That you have spoiled kids? This is where you need to do your work. And I get it, like, it's not fun for anybody if you would go to the store to do your shopping and your kid has tremendous meltdown and everybody's looking at you and judging you. But also, so what? Do you prefer avoiding the pain of being judged by total strangers? Or do you put more emphasis on raising a child who's trauma-free and who feels safe to be themselves, not being criticized, not being pushed into a little box of being a good girl, good boy, now and always motivated by punishments, bribes, shaming? Like, which one is more important for you? How are you setting those boundaries? Are they really set for objective, valid reasons because we are raising like kind, respectful human beings? Or did we take it too far for the fear of being judged by other people? Okay, this is, again, it's very personal and it will depend situation by situation. You will need to get curious and start asking yourself the question: why am I setting boundaries? Am I pushing my kid too far to be a nice kid, to be a smart kid, because I'm afraid they will fail, they'll be judged by other people later on in life, they will have no friends if they're not nice? What are my own fears that are getting in the way of raising this child the way he or she was meant to be? Yes, this is where we are getting into some deeper stuff, yeah. And that's why I rather want to have these deeper discussions with you rather than giving you some scratching the surface parenting scripts and advice. You are the best parenting expert on your kids. And one healed mom or dad, trauma-free, free of the patterns from their childhood, free of the fear of being judged by other people, free of their fears, childhood fears of not being loved enough, not being accepted, not be worthy of being loved. Once you're free of that, you will become much more powerful than a team of childhood psychologists or like school psychologists and counselors. You have the power to help your child find their way, how to be in this world, themselves, fully expressed, all emotions allowed, while being respectful of others people's freedoms and the right for their space too. Sounds good? I know, right? It sounds like so difficult. It's so much work. Wouldn't it be easier if I could just like say this and do that and kids would be amazing and we could feel like, oh, I did such a good job. I'm such a great mom. I'm sorry, there are no shortcuts here. And isn't that the joy of it? Isn't that the joy of it, that while our kids are, by showing us where they struggle, they actually show us the opportunity of where we can clean up some of our struggle that we thought like, yeah, that's what it was in my childhood, but I'm okay now, I'm okay. Really, are you? Really? Where's that fear of judgment still showing up in your life? Where's that fear of tiptoeing around other people's emotions still showing up in your life? Where are all those insecurities and the feelings of not being worthy of love? Where is that still impacting your life? Because I bet it's not just in your kids. It's not just in parenting. This is why I consider my daughter to be my biggest teacher. Not because I would let her decide everything. I would do everything she wants whenever she wants and just like, okay, my child, you're the king of the world. No. But she's very good at showing me where I'm losing my patience, where I'm still getting like, little bit stressed out or a little bit, little overreaction, mommy. Why is that? She's very good at pointing out where I still need to do my own growing up. And isn't that amazing that our kids can do that for us? And how much easier and more aware their adulthood is going to be if we allow them this path and if we start growing up emotionally together with them. How wonderful. Yeah. Good. So if you're up for that, that's what we are doing here. I am going to do again that infomercial or like advertisement for my free training, because this is usually the best place to start, where you have it all from A to Z. You understand what's going on, what kind of help you need to make sure you will become the mom you wish you had growing up. And I will look forward to seeing you there. Take very good care, super mom or super dad. Why can't you stop yelling at your kids? And no, it's not the stress, lack of sleep, kids not listening, fighting, hitting, no support, time pressure, ADHD, hormones. No, moms around the world are doing it regardless. How? Join us for the upcoming Mommy Tantrum training and find out too.